So before we get to Idalia, let's take a look at something really funny here. I don't know where they find these guys to do doctor work at the Capitol, but I do know one thing. They are paid not to actually do doctor work, but to instead doctor medical documents, lie on medical documents. Okay? I need you to understand something. Any attending physician that says Mitch McConnell is perfectly fine, he's A-okay, is just as nutty. He is just as nutty as the motherfucker who said Trump, the doctor that gave Trump a clean bill of health and said he's sexy as fuck and he's super hot actually when he takes his shirt off. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they've just like hired exclusively chiropractors for the White House and also Congress alike. But here is what the Capitol attending physician said for Senator Mitch McConnell as he cleared him for work. I have consulted with Leader McConnell and conferred with his neurology team after evaluating yesterday's incident. I have informed Leader McConnell that he is medically clear to continue with the schedule as planned. Occasional lightheadedness is not uncommon in concussion recovery and can also be expected as a result of dehydration. If Joe Brandon had a fucking moment like this, if Joe Brandon had this level of like a brain fart, because he has gaffes, right? He fucks up. His brain short circuits from time to time. He is not medically fine. You know what I mean? I wouldn't consider him to be medically fine, right? But if he had two glitches like Glitch McConnell now, like to that degree, I don't think that the Republican Party would talk about anything else. They'd be like 25th Amendment time, 25th Amendment time. This is like, we got to take him out. We got to take him out. He's demented. He's demented. He's out of his mind. They still do it. They still fucking do it. And even stopped doing it already. Dianne Feinstein's in the same boat as well because we are run by crazy people.
What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026?
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
yes.
This is so funny. Like, yeah, that's when you're, as a congressional aide, as a staffer, that's when you're like, oh, fuck, how do I salvage this? Oh, we'll just simply act like he couldn't hear it. That's not the problem here, lady. That is not the problem here. Oh, yeah, he just... Guys, he just couldn't hear it. He's just a little dehydrated. It's going to be fine. Senator, is it okay? Senator, let me repeat the question for you. Bro is seeing the Shinigami? Oh, yeah. Unofficial HasanAbi medical correspondent chiming in. The doc can get away with this because even though Mitch probably had an absent seizure, you can't prove it without an EEG. So technically his doc can be like, okay, all good. Now get back to work because he probably looked normal when the doc actually examined him. Okay, but like, why aren't we doing an EEG? Like, what the fuck? This isn't funny. Senators only do this when they're extremely distressed. Yeah, dude, he's giving an INTJ stare, okay? That's what he's doing. He's just like staring down the journalist. It's you don't understand how that works. That's what it is. I'm an empath. I know.
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator.
Wait, I don't get it. Why do you need a minute? It's just, I thought Senator just couldn't simply hear what the question was. Just say the question again, and then the Senator will hear it. Come on. Come on now.
Yep.
Head outside, son. Come with us. Okay.
McConnell was eventually able to answer a few questions before leaving.
It may have already been mentioned, but we have a minimum age for Congress, so why not maximum? Dude, that would be unjustifiable. That would be totally fucked up. I do think that there should be term limits, obviously. I also think that there should be an age limit as well. Or after a certain age, like if you go past like, I don't know, 75, let's say, fuck it, 75. I think that's a very reasonable max cap, right? At that point, isn't that ageism? Yes, bro. I'm fucking ageist, okay? Guess what? I'm ableist too. Like, for example, if your brain doesn't work because you're demented, you can't sit in office. I'm ableist. That's what I feel. That's what I believe. That's what I think is the right thing to do. I'm saying 75 because it's like manageable, right? Like, let's start off with 75, let's say. I think the reality is 65 would be best. Term limits don't help without election reforms. Put in term limits without it, and corps will just groom politicians to serve a couple terms to represent the industry interest. Yes, but term limits at the very least, like, offer a fucking max cap on the amount of cruelty that you can get from one specific, very obviously corrupt politician like Bob Menendez. For every Bernie Sanders and Ed Markey, there is 1,000 Bob Menendezes out there. And yes, I am very aware that like someone like Kyrsten Sinema, for example, would absolutely be able to still operate and do the Kyrsten Sinema shit, even with term limits, because she was pulling the shit that she was pulling off immediately. What I was simply stating was maybe after like you hit, I don't know, 65, you have to do a mental acuity test or something. That's what I think. And you have to do the mental acuity test like on a monthly basis. Like you have to offer up for all the public to see, for all your constituents to see, that you are fully capable of passing these, cognitive tests, that your brain is working. Let's take a look at some fun shit.
Countries, New Zealand, Australia, and France, have warned their citizens about violent crimes and shootings in our cities. That's an actual concern. If Canada was worried about anybody coming to the United States, say, hey, be careful if you go to places that have historically been friendly to the 2S LGBTQI plus, San Francisco, New York City. You will get injured if you come here.
I love that the counter that she's making is that actually you don't get it, Justin Trudeau. We're even less safe than you think. Like, how is that good for America? Like, you are so fucking dumb. Not only is this not true, because technically travel advisories to red states, ironically, do capture the real violent crime and the likelihood of it happening, because red states, contrary to what Fox News will tell you, contrary to what you've heard from mainstream media over and over again, red states have way higher violent crime rates than blue states do. Surprise! Most people don't know that in America. Why? Because one, well, education is not free. Everyone is dumb as fuck. And two, the media is constantly fucking lying to you. So remember that. But this, in and of itself, is not even about violent crime. It's more so about the likelihood that you might be hate crimed. I do think that these kinds of travel advisories are mostly fluff. It's bullshit anyway. I don't really give a fuck. But even if that was the case, let's give it an honest read here. Okay, let's give it an honest read. Let's say that this is not like some optics bullshit. Let's say they're legitimately trying to warn, gay Canadians. They don't want them to get fucking hate crimed or whatever. Okay, and let's say she's actually honest and she's real, and like actually blue states have worse violent crime rates and are less safe than the red states, right? Which is not the case. But let's say it is. So your counter is, hey, dumbasses in Canada, you issued a travel advisory, but guess what? America is a significantly more violent nation than you thought it was? Really? That's our big W here? That's the big W? That's your defense? Ha! Silly Canadians. What you don't realize is you should issue a travel advisory across the board, because in the United States of America, you are equally under threat, no matter where you go, dumbass.
So they, rather than caring about, again, safety, that should be in the warning. And you mentioned, Canada is, Jordan Peterson has to go through some social media re-education.
Yeah, that's the real fear in Canada, is the fucking social media gulags.
Which is like Soviet Union gulag era nonsense. Well done. Oh, and you can only have 2 beers a week.
I also find it rich.
Fuck! You can only have 2 beers a week? This new meta is so bunk, dude. I'm fucking dying, dude. I'm dying. I can't. This is too stupid. You want to know where the 2 beer thing is coming from? Let me tell you. The 2 beer thing is yet another issue that they're trying to raise. It's no different than the gas stove meta. It's no different than the COVID lockdowns are coming back meta. It is completely ridiculous. Here's what it is. Here it is. The 2020 to 2025 dietary guidelines for Americans recommend limiting intake to alcoholic drinks or less in a day, to 2 alcoholic drinks or less in a day, or 1 drink or less for women. That's it. It is simply a 2020 to 2025 dietary guideline. That's it. There is no regulation surrounding this. There is no implementation of such a reality. It's just simply a dietary suggestion. What happened next is the Daily Mail decided to write an article on it saying America is following the lead of Canada and, forcibly limiting. Well, actually, the article itself didn't even say that. But Republicans misunderstood because they don't know how to fucking read and went along with it and decided to suggest that, like, the American government's coming for your beer and they're going to stop you from drinking more than 2 beers a week. Biden's alcohol czar warns Americans could soon be told to limit themselves to just 2 beers per week under strict new booze guidelines. Americans could be urged by officials to drink no more than 2 beers a week as a part of strict new alcohol guidelines. This is just a suggestion. If you think that they're going to limit your alcoholic content consumption, you are the most delusional person on the fucking planet. Or you might just be a Republican. It's redundant to say you are the most delusional Republican because Republicans are fucking delusional. If you read the actual news story, and if you have like 3.5 actual brain cells that you can rub together when you're analyzing things that you're reading, you recognize, oh, it's just a healthcare guideline. Has this ever been something that Americans followed? Have you ever followed a simple healthcare suggestion coming from the federal government? No. So why would you follow this? When have you ever followed a healthcare guideline? Average daily caloric consumption for the average American male is 2,000 calories. It's not 2,000 calories per meal. It's 2,000 calories a day. And your fat asses are at fucking Applebee's smoking on jalapeno poppers and eating at least 2,000 fucking calories per meal anyway. So shut the fuck up. Biden's health czar told DailyMail.com that the USDA could revise its alcohol advice to match Canada's, where people are advised to have just 2 drinks per week. Dr. George Koob, who admits enjoying a couple of glasses of Chardonnay a week, said he was watching Canada's biggest experiment with interest. If there's health benefits, I think people will start to reevaluate where we're at in the U.S. Current U.S. recommendations say women can have up to 1 bottle of beer and small glass of wine or a shot of spirit a day, while men can have 2. That's current recommendation, but those guidelines are up for review in 2025. Asked in what direction the guidelines could change, Dr. George Koob, the director for the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, again, this man, his entire job is to stop your alcoholic conservative dad from drinking himself to death. That's his specific job. His response was pretty funny. He said, I mean, they're not going to go up, I'm pretty sure. Part of the reason why the 2005 guidelines are absolutely nutty, for the record, which is insane for the record, that the current U.S. recommendations are women can have up to 1 bottle of beer, a small glass of wine, or a shot of spirit a day, while men can have 2. That's insane. Why is it that high, you might ask? Well, that's because the American government is completely in the pocket of the spirits and alcohol manufacturers. That's why. Do you understand? But once again, this is just a simple suggestion. It's just a simple suggestion. That's it. Doesn't matter. These are guidelines that you can follow, which every American does not follow anyway. But the fact that they're trying to turn this into like this big ass like ordeal that, you know, they're going to put you in the fucking gulags. Oh my Lord, dude. It's just yet another indication that we are devolving as a society. I do not understand it. I cannot comprehend it. But let's hear how Ted Cruz responded to this in the fucking goofiest way possible.
They've now done that for new construction. They're trying to go after and regulate ceiling fans. I got to tell you, it's hot in Texas. We don't want to get rid of our ceiling fans.
Yeah, dude. I want my ceiling fan to cut my head off. I want my ceiling fan to kill my baby when it falls off the ceiling. Regulations? Are you out of your fucking mind? Regulations for ceiling fans? What's next? Regulations for asbestos? One of the funnier aspects of this is that Theodore Jebediah Raphael Edward Cruz is famous for doing these kinds of photo ops. And in my opinion, it always is hilarious and he should never stop. Because every time I see him try to do one of these, I am reminded of the reality that he is a Princeton and I believe Harvard graduate who has nothing in common with the average man. You can put the snakeskin boots on all day. You can wear the biggest belt buckle, but that will not change the reality that you are not a layman. You're not the average everyday guy. Okay? You're just not. This image is 40%. This image is like 40% belly. Yeah. Beacon of health and prosperity back here, by the way. All of our lovely, wonderful hogs. I feel like he went to, you know, a website where you can hire a hog and hired all the hogs from hog.com to stand behind him.
And now these idiots have come out and said, drink 2 beers a week. That's their guideline. Well, I got to tell you, if they want us to drink 2 beers a week, frankly, they can kiss my ass.
No, okay.
I love that they're all doing it in unison too. Like he told them, you know, drink the beer when I say kiss my ass. What a tough guy he is, dude. A little pussy ass sip. Let me tell you something, bitch. Let me tell you something, Theodore. If you were a fucking real one, what was the guy's name? God damn it. Chili Dog. For those of you who don't know, Chris Chili Dog forgot his last name. God damn. It feels so good to be free, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo! Every part of this is so fucking silly because it's so obviously scripted. like their behavior. They all drink the beer at the same time, and then look at Eric Bowling.
Senator, I brought a beer to drink with you. I'll drink this non-alcoholic beer with you because I'm not allowed to drink on camera, but I'll have a sip in the meantime.
Look, I got.
Why are you not allowed to drink on camera? Are you telling me that the fucking communists at the what is it? Is it FCC decided to stop you from drinking your goddamn beer on camera? What the fuck is that? The FCC won't let me be? What the hell? Or is it the communists that run Newsmax? Or maybe, just maybe, Newsmax was like, Eric, we fucking hired you after the sea of sexual harassment allegations launched towards you at Fox News, which was the reason why you had to stop working there. We have only one rule for you. It is that you are not allowed to drink on camera because we know how handsy you get.
Gotta say, have you ever seen a brand do more damage to itself than Bud Light,
and then he just like randomly fucking goes on a tangent on Bud Light.
Single-handedly seem to destroy themselves. So I'm glad you're not drinking a Bud Light. Personally, I'm fond of Shiner Bock, which is a good Texas brand. I've been to the Shiner Brewery in Shiner, Texas, and I recommend it. And I promise you, this is not alcohol-free beer down here.
I promise you, it's not. I'm a bad boy. I'm taking little baby sips, nursing this shit. The 5 is back and Janine is insane.
Is that we've got something to do with all of this. And then the other issue is, you know, wildfire season. Oh, it's terrible. It's because it's man-made. The wildfire, it's because of climate change. But I mean to say it's man-made. It's really about arson. It's about poor forest management. It's about making sure or not making sure that the brush that's on the ground, it ends up meeting a power line. I mean, all of this stuff can be handled if we at least recognize, as Ron DeSantis is recognizing, that you can prepare for it, you can plan ahead, and you can be ahead of the game. But all of these claims that hurricanes and wildfires are the result of climate change and the hot weather happens in the summer. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I love this because, like, this to me is what I was talking about before, about the ladder that right-wing rhetoric has been forced to climb on their rhetoric with some of the externalities of anthropogenic climate change. Before, they were like, I have a snowball in my hand. It's obviously fake. Or it snows in the winter. Clearly, it's not global warming, right? Now, they can't deny that it's, like, genuinely causing chaos. So at the very least, they're like demanding proper safety measures. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. The only reason why they are, forced to reckon with this is because extreme weather conditions are happening with unimaginable frequency. Once in a lifetime events are no longer once in a lifetime. It's basically yearly. So they have to, at the very least, demand that the government do something about it, so that people don't die.
Yeah. Not in England, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, it never has.
Very, very cloudy. We're still in the ice age in our summers.
So I genuinely don't understand a constant denial. What do they gain by denying this is a reality? They're backed by the fossil fuel industry. That's number one. The fossil fuel industry has dumped billions of dollars into think tanks, into lobbying, into ads. So that's number one. Number two, the only way to combat this kind of thing is by regulation, right? Which every capitalist and capitalism defender hates. They're supposed to hate. So for that reason, automatically they just have to deny anything that requires additional regulation, anything that requires the government to ask for more resources. Waters on climate change. Let's see what kind of a beautiful take he had.
So it is a pyramid scheme, climate change. If you think about it, you have the media, the politicians, and the academics at the top, and then at the bottom you have all of us, the taxpayers. So academics realized early on that the more papers that they put out saying that climate change was caused by humans and the world was going to blow up in 2 years if we don't do something about it, they were going to get more grant money from the politicians. And so the media takes these research papers and then they report them, and then they get big ratings because everybody gets scared and everybody gets nervous. And then the politicians scare the heck out of you and said, get rid of big oil, we need to go green. And then they throw all of our money around at all of their donors. And all of their...
It's fantastic that he's saying this because, like, that is what's going on, but towards fossil fuel. Why is he acting like researchers have even a fraction of the reach that the mainstream media has? Yeah. He's describing what the oil lobby does, but projecting it to the renewables industry. It's awesome. Completely ridiculous. 75% of our subsidies still go to fossil fuels, okay? In the field of energy, fossil fuels are still king.
They're investors. So they're all making all this money. by telling us something that's not happening. We had this big climate change whistleblower on last night who said she's been ostracized because she reported that maybe the Earth is warming a little bit, but the human impact is really not much. And the fact that it's warming, we got this. It's not Armageddon. And she has been smeared as a denier, and all of her grants dried up. And no one wants to talk to her in the scientific community.
Yeah, I wonder why, dog. Because if you are a scientist, you're supposed to do science. If you're a scientist and start showing to the rest of the scientific community that you're bad at science, then yeah, of course everyone else is going to be like, okay, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, if you're wrong, you shouldn't keep getting babied. I thought this was America, where we do not celebrate failure. Since when is it that we celebrate fucking losers and people who are just wrong? What the hell? He's literally demanding that there is a jobs program, basically, for fucking losers.